to all of you who are on and all of you who are watching this later today. So today we are going to be riding the second leg of our day 4 on the Thailand bike ride. And we're still riding from Bangkok to Chumpon. And again, this is a beautiful coastal ride. I was watching the scenery yesterday and it really just takes you back and you just feel like you wish you could be there, and we will one day soon. But today I'm joined by Tomo and Jess Douglas, who are going to have a chat as we pedal out those Ks. What we're hearing from the community is they're absolutely loving the interviews and just the chats that are happening, and it's really helping them get through those Ks in the morning and at lunchtime. So thank you both for joining us.
It's fantastic.
So Jess was given a little bit about Jess. Jess was given her first bike at 4, and since then she's never looked back. You can see in her garage she's got a few. A cancer diagnosis saw her living with chemotherapy during year 9 became a major life-changing part of her life. At 19, the competitive streak in her was released and she started dabbling into road racing and mountain bike racing. She went on to be a 3-time world 24-hour solo elite mountain bike champion, which we'll find out about shortly. And in between playing mum to daughter Saskia, she played Aussie rules football, umpired football, rowing. She's just an all-round incredible sportswoman, and I'm so excited to learn more about Jess and hear some of her stories this morning. So I'm going to hand it over to you and to Jess and Tomo.
Hello, Jess. It's so nice to meet you. First of all, how many bikes do you have in the garage?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Well, that's probably about $500,000 worth of machinery right there. Where do you live? I just want to check out your garage.
People want my address so they can come and steal them. Geelong.
Well, you do live in Geelong, and look, I'm just listening to the bio that Claire has read out. How would you describe yourself? The first word that comes to me is you're a survivor.
Yeah, I really enjoy adversity. Like, some people don't like uncertainty and they want certainty, and I really thrive off things being thrown at me from the side I wasn't expecting. So yeah, probably a survivor is a good one.
Well, it all started in 1987. You were diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Yes. How old were you then? 14.
I just turned 14. And speaking of that, when I was told what it was like, oh, yeah, all right, okay. I've never had I've never even had like a really bad cold, or I'd never broken a bone, or it's like, yeah, cancer, that's pretty significant, okay. And so from that diagnosis, I remember saying to my mum, I'm going to be one of these people that survives, and I'm going to use my head. I'm going to think good thoughts. I'm going to engage in, I guess, a mindful practice. And this is me at 14, of accepting my fate, but choosing my future. And so I did a lot of things to be positive about it and realize that this was a gift given to me to perhaps become a better person.
So you learned from a very young age, Jess, to be physically and mentally tough, correct?
Yeah, I would say it certainly helped lay a really good foundation for realizing that if you just push through, great things can happen.
Were you scared at the time?
No.
What made you overcome those fears?
Well, this sounds really boring, but it's how I live my life a lot. So I just broke it down into processes. And some things you can control and some things you can't control. So I couldn't control the fact that I currently had cancer. That was, it wasn't due to my lifestyle. It wasn't a hereditary thing. It just happened. But what I could control is I could control what I ate. I could control what I thought. I also could hand over some control, delegate to the medical professionals, and really believe in them and have some hope in that. So it was more about then just ticking off the boxes and saying another week's down and I'm still alive and I'm still doing good. And I wouldn't focus so much on the fact that I had cancer. I focused on perhaps the lessons I was learning throughout it and turned it into, I guess, a very soulful year.
And Jess, I guess you realised also at a young age, the years passed slowly, but at 19, you found that you had a competitive streak and you turned to sport, correct?
Yeah, well, look, going back to when I had cancer, a local leisure centre opened up in the year that I was diagnosed. So I said to my parents, we've got to join the gym. I want to go to the gym. You know, I just wanted to do active things because it was something that I could do that could take my mind off it. But also I felt when you have chemotherapy, you know, my red blood cell count was really low and it was really hard to breathe. You know, I was just out of breath and I thought, this is not good feeling so unfit at age 14. So I went and did what I could at the gym and swam and stuff. So then, yeah, definitely I had a bike, but I didn't race. I was what I would call an explorer. I like to ride my bike and just ride all around the Bellarine Peninsula by myself. And if it took all day, it took all day, you know, that was just my thing. But yeah, when I turned 19 and I started dabbling in a bit of road racing on the Gold Coast, I was living on the Gold Coast, and mountain bike racing, I realized, oh, yeah, I'm really actually, yeah, I enjoyed it. It scared me. Competition was so scary, like putting yourself out against other people. But when you finished, the elation, the hormones, everything, it was just like, wow, that is so good. That's better than anything. That's better than coffee, better than drugs, better than whatever. It's just a really good feeling. So I explored that for a bit, and it was because going backwards again, I got married at 18. I met my husband. He was in the Navy, so we moved to Sydney. I started university, and then he got out of the Navy. I got out of my uni course, and we moved to the Gold Coast. And that's how I ended up on the Gold Coast. He got a job offer. And it wasn't, yeah, we'd been married a couple of years and we decided to have a child or try because I'd had cancer. I wasn't sure whether I could have children.
Can I ask you, how old were you when you had your first child?
5 days off 21.
So still pretty young. And were you worried about the birth?
No, definitely not. I didn't even know whether I wanted to be a parent from a very young age. I was like, Jesus, parenting business sounds like hard work. Not sure if it's cut out for me. But because I'd been sick and I was married and I loved my husband and, you know, we're just like, oh, let's see if we can. So when I got pregnant, it was like, I'm pretty sure I only want one. So we only have one, and she's 26 and she has a child and I'm a grandparent and I'm 47. So doing it all really early was great.
Well, that's exactly right. You've done all those responsible things in life very early. You're still very young, 47, but you've had a tremendous career on the two-wheel machine.
Yeah, I love, I guess it's the bike. If there's one thing, when I was young, when you grow from one bike to the next and, you know, you need the next level bike to get up and riding and you no longer fit on your small bike anymore. I remember saying to my mum, it's time I had a new bike. I can't be without my bike. You just gotta get, because we weren't very rich. We were very poor. It's like, I've just got to have a bike. I'll give up anything.
Just on your mum. How old is your mum, by the way?
She's 60. I think she's about to turn 68 in August.
So she's a great grandmother. Yes. And there's every chance that she could be a great grandmother before too long.
Yeah, it's one of the bonuses of starting everything young. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what attracted you to long distance mountain biking?
Well, that's an accident, I guess. I guess when you're a journey-driven adventure cyclist, you're not looking at speed, you're looking at the enjoyment. And, you're riding along and you can actually see things and smell things and look at things. And when I got, okay, so I'll fast forward again. We moved back to Geelong. I don't know, this story's going around a bit, but when we moved back to Geelong, my daughter was about 2.5, I think. Then we sort of dropped cycling for a bit. I used my bike as a commuter. We rode along the river. Wasn't really looking for opportunities to ride, that's where I played Aussie rules football and rode surf boats and rode on the river and everything. But at about the age of 31, 32, we were running at the Yangs, which is a sort of national park near Geelong.
A couple of pimples just outside of Geelong.
Yeah, we were running there because I was umpiring football and running and doing fun runs and stuff. Much easier to do that with a child. And so what I would do, we'd go running. And then one time this friend said that there's mountain bike trails at the Yangs. We should try them out. And I said, oh yeah, I've got a mountain bike in my garage. It's pretty shit, but we'll see what happens. Because I really hadn't updated my mountain bike in 10 years. So it was a bit old school. And we went mountain biking the next weekend after we'd been trail running. I was like, wow, why did I let this go? This is amazing. So that week we went and upgraded our mountain bikes, and I got into, don't know why or how, but just by chance, we turned up to an 8-hour mountain bike race at Whittlesea, which is 8 hours of going around a lap. So the lap was about 10 Ks long. And I joined up with another friend, and we rode around in female pairs. So it's like a relay. One person does a lap, the other person rests, you swap over. And you do that for 8 hours. And the winners are the ones who get the most amount of laps in the 8 hours. And had a ball, really exciting, really fun. And we didn't come last, we came 5th in the female pairs. And there was about 15 female pairs. I went, I think I've got potential. Great, I'm going to do more of this. And so that year, I found my groove. I just started turning up to races, road races. I was sort of being mentored by Donna Ray-Zielinski. I used to turn up to her ergo sessions in the morning, and she said, Jess, you need a road bike? I said, yeah, I do. So I started dabbling in a few road races, and then I realized that where my expertise was that I was willing to suffer longer than everyone else. So everyone can ride at a certain speed for a couple of hours. Yes, then people start to drop off and get a bit, oh geez, I'm getting tired, or I'm getting bored, or whatever. But you know, when it hit the 6-hour mark, I'm like, let's go. So I was really just had that in me, that probably from all the adversity that I'd had.
And well, first of all, where has competition taken you, and what would be the most outstanding result and performance for you that sticks in your mind to this day?
Well, it was a culmination of reaching a particular point. So I'd been through a lot of highs and lows to get to this point, but it was 2010. We had a world championship mountain bike event at Mount Stromlo in Canberra. And it was a 24-hour event. There was about 400 24-hour solo cyclists from all around the world. And it was a huge field, and I had put all my eggs in one basket. I wanted to win this. And as I said, it was a culmination of many events to get there. But it was standing on the start line with about 30 elite, so all the other people were all age groups. So about 100 elite men and about 30 elite women. And I'm standing on the start line looking around thinking, I don't really belong here. And because when you've just built up your own skill and your own desire from an intrinsic desire to be a better rider, you don't realize that you belong there and that everyone else thinks you do. You still think you're the little Jessica that was just doing mountain biking for fun.
Well, it was an international field. You were up against the best in the world, weren't you? From all over the world.
Yeah. And then I realized, hang on, you have actually worked for this. This is all in your head. This is where people don't succeed, or that fine line between almost and the ones who get to the top is here. And so I said to myself at that point, hang on, they're probably looking at you going, oh, we've heard about this Jess Douglas, and, you know, she's this next up and coming, you know, 24-hour mountain biker. We're going to have to watch her. For that particular race, there was, as I said, a huge field. And even people like Peter Mullins were having a go at the 24-hour. It was quite funny. And I won. Yeah. I won by 13 minutes over 24 hours. Now,
that's massive, isn't it?
Look, it's massive, but it's also fine, because if you get a puncture out there or something happens, or, you know, 13 minutes is not a big gap, but it's how it happened and how I raced that race that makes me so proud. And from that moment, I always say, I found out I cracked the code to life, really, because you get a lot of time to think. And it's not just, you know, yes, you've got to race, and yes, you've got to go as hard as you can. And yes, you don't sleep. And there's just so many things that go on in 24 hours. 24 hours is not a long time, but when you're out there, those micro moments last for a long time.
What do you mean you cracked the code to life? What do you exactly mean by that?
Yeah, right. It was that what you think is happening right now, well, I guess it leads to the next moment. So if I think, well, I'm struggling along, and I use the word struggle deliberately, and it's like, oh, I'm getting tired. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I wish it was over. Then my next moment is full of pain and suffering. But if I'm out there and I go, again, back to that journey-driven cyclist and say, look at me, look how lucky I am to be riding a mountain bike trail at 2:00 in the morning for a world championship, and I get to be here and be supported, and people actually are here caring about it. Wow. And then the energy that comes from just that thought then goes into that next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. And it was all up to me to think those thoughts and to deliver the result. The other code that I cracked, so that was just, I guess, you know, just a general one. But the other one was, there is no shortcut to hard work. There, you know, to getting results, there is no shortcut. It is all hard work, but that hard work has to come, it just has to come from you, from an intrinsic place, and you have to be passionate about it. Because I saw people pull out, and I'm thinking, why'd you pull out? It's a world championship, just finish. Don't have a DNF beside your name. And I realized, but then that's not up to me to decide. Each and every one of us, if we're going to undertake a project of any sort and we're not interested in it, just own it and just go, okay, it's not for me, I'm out. Or if I want to be there, the acceptance of the hard work and realize that failure is also part of that journey. I don't know, it was just probably, I've got a list of about 20 things that I learnt during that time. And the other thing was, the final thing was, that 24 hours goes by very, very quickly, the big scheme of things.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. But look, you had climbed the highest mountain. You'd won yourself a world championship at elite level. I guess you raced against a lot of competitors much younger than you, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think at that time I was 37. I think I was 37.
So you're up against the best in the world, and you'd come back from cancer from a very young age. That's a pretty amazing story. How proud were you knowing what you had battled through in life?
Look, I guess like anyone who reaches that pinnacle, it's not until later that you retrospectively look back and go, I can see all the steps that have been in place to get me where I am. And so if I ever doubt myself, I've got a recipe that I can look back. And so whenever something bad happens, well, when I say bad, whenever I'm challenged, whenever I'm feeling like I'm challenged, I think you've gotten through this before, and right over the other side of this challenge is good stuff waiting to happen. You just got to do the work.
Jess, can you relate to people like Lance Armstrong, who also battled through cancer before continuing with his own career? Of course, we know what happened to him in the end. I don't see you as a bully or a drug cheat. But,
no, I definitely read his books.
Yeah, so have I. But can you relate to what he went through in life? And is there a parallel?
Look, I think he came back with more passion to win than he ever had. And I think there's probably two distinct, well, maybe three, two to three distinct ways in which people deal with adversity. Some people lay down and say, I can't cope, and let it become all consuming. Some people just go with the flow and just say, oh, well, whatever happens, that's in my destiny. And then there's others that go, this is a great chance. This is an opportunity. This is growth. This is somewhere where I can build and learn about all my weaknesses and grow. And of course, there's everyone in between that. But I think, yeah, with the parallels between him and I certainly read that his desire to be the best he could be after that, he was already there prior, but it became even stronger.
And was it the same for you?
Yeah, I think if I hadn't have had cancer, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I'm very grateful for it. I look at all that and I think they're like university courses. I have my Bachelor of Life and Adversity.
Are there effects of the cancer still in your system?
No, not that I know of. Yeah, look, that's been a long time.
Yeah.
14 and I'm 47 now. So yeah, I don't even think about it anymore. I started breast screens at 45 because I've had cancer, I'm going to have breast cancer, but I'm just like very vigilant. I have my skin cancer checks. I have my breast cancer checks. All the things that I can do. I'm just like, right, I take my health very seriously.
Yeah, we should all subscribe to that. Now, I'm looking at your bio here. You're 47 now, you say, but you're still racing quite consistently. And when there's no health pandemic gripping the world, you'd be out there competing still, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah. I definitely. I'm still on a progression upwards with certain things. Like I'm finding that my tolerance to pain and suffering is actually increasing. So whilst I might not be good for a sprint, I'm really good at a breakaway, and people sort of go, let her go. And I'm like, I just get faster on a breakaway. Happy to be out in the front in the wind. And I'm actually finding that COVID-19 has been wonderful to my FTP, the functional threshold power, because I've been doing all my stuff on the indoor trainer. I can't wait to go out and race again.
24 hours? Are you still doing 24-hour events?
No. I got a grandson to look after, and I like my sleep.
So you have no interest in doing these across-continent type events?
Look, there is an interest. I have done many bikepacking events, and they do take a lot out of you, because it's very easy to rock up and say, I'm not going to race. I'm just going to cruise and enjoy. But for me, once I get going, I want to beat all the boys, and I just want to do my best. And so that means that you might only sleep for 2 or 3 hours a day. Most of the bikepacking events I've done, I'll go for about 36 to 40 hours before I'll have my first sleep. And then...
How do you do that?
You stay engaged. So one of the lessons I learned from 24-hour racing is that, and I guess it's a mindfulness practice, you'll look at a rock, you'll look at a corner, you'll look at this, you look at that, and you process it in your head. You don't just let it go by. You know those drives that you do from A to B, and you go, how did I get home? I can't remember. Yeah. So instead of just riding along blindly, you just ingest every piece of information into your head and let it work, and then your brain just stays engaged.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, 36 out to 40 hours without sleep. I used to do that when I was 18, coming home after a big night, but not anymore.
Well, last year I did an adventure race with the team, and it was actually, where did we start? On New South Wales coast. Oh, I can't even remember the name. Beautiful little town with a little inlet. Anyway, it was 48 hours before my head hit the pillow when we were done. And that's the longest I've ever been. And that was hell.
Does your daughter compete in these endurance events like you did?
No, she's a netballer.
Oh, okay.
She's a goal shooter, and she just likes to play netball. So that's her thing.
Well, there are so many endurance events on the calendar now, aren't there? I mean, I've got a good friend who does the Revolve 24. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
In South Australia.
Are you talking about Rupert?
Not so much Rupert. He's done it twice, but I'm talking about the organizer, David Fell.
Oh, yeah.
And that attracted several thousand people. I think it's been held 2 or 3 times now. But that's that's held on a motor racing track just outside of Adelaide, in a place called Tailem Bend. And you go around a circuit which is about 10 or 11 kilometres long. I did it once. I was part of a team about 2 years ago. There were 6 of us, but you can do it solo. Rupert Guinness, the person you mentioned, has done it twice, I think. And you know, Rupert's doing the Race Across America. He's doing the virtual challenge, which starts next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's definitely need a lot of chamois cream for that one.
And so is another colleague of mine, Dave McKenzie. And Dave's going to be talking to us just like you are in the coming days before the month's out. But there's also the Indy Pack, the ride across Australia from Fremantle to the Sydney Opera House. So those events, maybe one day as you get older, might be on the calendar for you.
Yeah, look, as a child, one of my dreams, I used to read all the magazines because, I used to buy the magazines. And I used to read about Race Across America. And I was like, oh, that would be amazing. I would love to do that. Now, you need a lot of money and a lot of support and just a lot of planning for that to occur. It's massive. But I have done a 24-hour road event. You might have heard of Delirium 24-hour.
Yeah, yes.
I did that over in WA. I think it was Brendan, what's his surname? He runs the Tour of Margaret River.
Okay.
Anyway, he organised that and I loved it. It was fantastic. But it was 24 hours on the road. I think I did 705 kilometres in 24 hours and no sleep. And you end up with a lot of vibration in your groin area for the next week.
Perish the thought.
But yeah, the Revolve 24, I've had a lot of coaching clients that have done that. And they were planning on doing it this year as well. But of course it didn't go ahead. And look, it's crossed my mind to go and do it. It's just that it's at an awkward time of year when I go and do a lot of sort of Victorian and local club racing on the road. I'm doing more road racing these days than mountain bike.
Are you? What sort of road racing?
Club level and also a little bit of masters, a little bit of age group, and also time trials and the veteran cycling club. The AVCC, the Australian Veterans. I've won the Australian overall championship for that 2 years in a row. It's as good in my.
Have you thought about competing at the World Masters Championships one day?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely have. It would be, I just have to commit to it. Like I said, you know, you put your mind there, you go for it, and you put in the investment, and it happens. I
Hmm.
think the last couple of years have been, my daughter got married last year, my daughter had a child last year, and, you know, other life things kind of take a little bit of your energy.
So your career or your life on the bike is on hold temporarily for the time being.
No, no,
No?
no. Oh, well, it is, I guess, with COVID-19, but no, I race on Zwift. I race locally. I do the Victorian Road Series, time trials. There's one coming up in Geelong, if that goes ahead, in July.
Have you competed at the National Road Championships in Buninyong?
Yes, I have. Back in, 2008, I did.
Okay. I was there, I think, as a reporter.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, that was tough.
It's a tough course, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would do.
Who won it that year? Do you remember?
Oh, man.
Because I think that was a couple of years after it was moved from Victoria to South Australia in the Adelaide Hills. It came back to Victoria, and Ballarat hosted it. I'm just trying to think the female that won it. So you're in the elite with all the other girls, yeah?
Yeah, it was. It was one of those things where my husband was going out to help with the SRAM neutral spares.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had sort of like, you should just race, just see what happens. And then I entered late, like a week out, and Donna's like, yeah, you should just do it, you'll learn heaps. And definitely the first 5 laps were great, and then of course someone attacks, and then you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, the panic starts to set in.
Yeah.
So what now, Jess? You're 47, you're a grandma. Life seems pretty good at the moment. What do you plan to do in the future?
You're spot on. It is very comfortable. And I think I look back at all the things that I've done that have been very uncomfortable. And to be honest, everything is super comfy. So I probably do need to get a little uncomfortable again. I'm not sure what that looks like though. It's a bit hard to plan with not knowing precisely what our future is, but I would love to get even better and perfect my time trialing. And that's something that I really enjoy. And consequently, I think the Revolve 24 is something that always had a little spark in my head going, you should do this, you should do this.
But away from the bike, do you have any other interests? I mean, you said before that you played Aussie rules, you umpired Aussie rules, you were a rower. I think you dabbled into surf lifesaving on a surf boat, fun runs, half marathons. What other interests do you have that you could do in the future?
I love trail running. Last year I did a 100K trail run and attempted a 100-mile trail run, but I only made 100 Ks before I thought, I don't think I'm going to make it back. My legs had seized up. Love trail running, but the other thing I do is this weekend as well, I'm start a 3-weekend block of Zoom meetings just like this with Greg Malin from Cycling Australia, doing the level 2 cycle coaching qualifications. So I'm always working on my professional development. I'm writing a book. I've started that actually 3 weeks ago. Been talking about it for 10 years.
What's the book about?
Oh, it's about my 1% rules to success, but telling my story and how I've applied all the little building blocks to get to where I am. And I guess, just telling my story in every little nitty gritty detail, and because there's so much more behind all the hard work.
Have you got a title for it?
maybe how to become a world champion 1% at a time, or yeah, I'm not sure yet.
And when do you think that'll be published?
Oh, I would like to get that done. Well, I don't know publish because I'll self-publish it probably to start with, see how that goes. But I'm starting Bachelor of Arts in Psychology next semester. So I'd like to get it written.
In Geelong?
Yeah, Deakin. Yeah.
You're amazing. So you're going to study, you're going to start studying now, are you?
Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my brain. So I'd like to get that done before I start uni.
Wow, that's amazing. You are a go-getter. This is just an amazing story. You've had an amazing life, and it hasn't stopped. It won't stop. You won't make it stop, will you?
No, people have asked me for the longest time, when will you retire? I said, what's retirement? I'm not sitting around in a golf cart, sipping a beer or whatever. I'm just, I don't know what it will mean, but I think life, like I said really early on, the energy that you put into yourself today will translate tomorrow. So I'm constantly thinking about that and thinking, I really enjoy having goals, but I enjoy being happy. So
has that philosophy rubbed off on the people around you, like your husband, your daughter, your close friends, your family members?
Yeah, they say to me, "Oh, Jess, I can't complain to you, can I?" And I said, "No, because you've got to come." I taught my daughter a very good lesson when she was a teenager, that if she came to me with a problem, that she also had to come to me with a solution, and we would discuss the solution and I guess, work out the solution together. It couldn't be, I'm tired. It had to be, why am I tired? Oh, that's because I never went to bed early. And she'd say, Mum, I'm so tired. I didn't go to bed early enough. Can I have the day off school? And I'd say, well, you've come to me with the solution, like why? But the solution's not applicable. We need to work out a better solution.
Jess, go on.
No, I was just going to say, and yeah, that's my philosophy is, yes, you can have a whinge, but you've got to have an action plan.
You're such a positive person. And we've learned a lot about you in the last 40 minutes. You're such a positive person. Do you worry about the events that are happening globally around the world, in politics, in human rights? What goes through your head when you look at the news every night?
Yeah. I guess without saying names, well, you can imagine from the moment I learned about Mr. Trump doing his things, it's like, I cannot believe it. Just, anyway, we won't go into my beliefs on him, but look, I have an innate feeling that 99% of humans on this earth, even though we have to care about ourselves first, we really do want to see others succeed. We want to see people happy. We want to see disadvantaged people not be disadvantaged. And I think where I'm really grateful for this pandemic, because I think it's helped us become community again and break down all those barriers that we put up in front of ourselves. And, it seems funny, but here we are, you get to talk to people on a platform that's, you're not really there, I can't touch you, but I can talk to you and all the other people that are on this ride and tell them things that they'd never know. And that's happening globally, and we're sharing more information and we're breaking down those barriers. And I think we're all realizing that we're all so similar. We all have the same vulnerabilities, we all have the same fears, and we all have the same desires for our world. So I actually think if we use what we're learning, if we use it coming out of the pandemic and back into our old society and stop worrying about whether the barista can't get our coffee done in 30 seconds or just so many frivolous things, it starts with us. It doesn't start with the politicians. It starts with us making people more accountable, calling people out for things that we don't agree on from a community level. And that's where I think our hope is. We can look at all these politicians and bad decisions being made, but really we need to look back at ourselves and go, well, what do I stand for? Because I can change. It's again, controlling what we can control. I can change me, and I can change how I react to the people around me. So that's my hope.
Beautifully said. You really are an inspiration. Well, from the age of 14 to where you are today, you've just batted on brilliantly, haven't you? You've scored a few centuries, I think.
Yeah, and look, Mike, if I can just, I guess, round it off to what do I want to do as my next challenge? It's life. You know, again, if I can go back to when I was young and I used to ride my bike as an adventure, that's my life. Every day's a holiday.
Yeah, great. Hey, Jess, do you do the speaker circuit, by the way?
The speaker circuit?
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, I would like to once I get my book ready, because then I would have a really valid thing to, well, look, you know, you read my book.
Oh, no, you've got a lot of stories to tell, and it's an incredible life. Maybe Hollywood beckons one day.
Maybe not Hollywood, but certainly, certainly regional Australia will do. I certainly like traveling locally.
Yeah. Well, lovely to meet you again. Great inspirational person that you are. And I think I've probably met you once or twice in the years past. I've done a lot of mountain bike events. So I'm very good friends actually with Rocky Trail Entertainment, Martin and Juliana.
Yes.
Have you done many of their events?
Yes, I've done a couple of their 12-hour and 24-hour events. And
yeah. In New South Wales?
Yes. Yeah,
right. Well, I'll have to bump into you very, very soon one day and have a long coffee with you. And I'll buy it.
No problem at all. And it's been lovely to be here. And I've had a beautiful Friday recovery ride. Lovely.
Yeah, good on you, Jess. Over to you, Claire.
Thank you, Tomo. Thanks, Jess. That was amazing. Such a great story. And I feel like keynote speaking and being an author is not too far away for you, Jess. That was the messages and hearing just how you've overcome struggle and suffering. I think a lot of business people can relate to. And particularly at the moment, you know, we look at what COVID's done to business and the hard work that has to be done to get through that period. And you know, I know for us at Hands, just that passion and perseverance is what's going to get us through. And we know that there's opportunity on the other side of this. And I mean, we look at this virtual ride, we've got, you know, 300 people, close to 300 people participating, and that's more riders than we've ever had on the road in 1 year in Thailand. So it's, you know, just the opportunity that has come out of COVID for us. And I think that, you know, goes back to that mindset piece and just the hard work.
That's right.
So yes. Thank you for sharing all of that. I had one of the riders sent me a message, and quote of the day was definitely, I was willing to suffer longer than everybody else. And yeah. I just love that.
So good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome work. And yeah, we'd love to continue the conversation, and you know, Tomo will take you out for that coffee, and I might join you both. It'd be a good chat. So look, riders, we are coming to the end of our session today. There's probably about 3 or 4 minutes to go because we started a little bit late. So if you do need to jump off, obviously feel free. And don't forget to log your Ks, keep us going towards that 40,000. We will definitely hit that by the weekend, which is so exciting. But until later today, actually, we've got Scott Stein and Vince Sorrenti coming up on our 12 o'clock session. So if you do need to clock up some extra Ks before the weekend, if you feel like taking the weekend off, jump in at 12 today and we'll get another 25 Ks done. There's some really great comments coming in for you guys. Thanks, Tom and Jess. Amazing messages in there. Lots of gratitude. And yeah, just all round amazing. So Congratulations, everyone. Thank you, Jess and Tomo, and we will see you all again later today.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye for now.
team.
Thank you.